Hello and welcome to the Betway Euro 2016 kickoff show, where we're going to take you through all the contenders and the no-hopers from this summer's European Championships, which take place, of course, in France. And joining us to run through all the runners and the riders, Alan Smith and Dion Dublin, representing England, and they are flanking, in the grand tradition of the Republic of Ireland, a dyed-in-the-wool Irishman, Clinton Morrison. Hello to all of you. Let's start by taking a look, because there are so many teams involved in this competition. Let's start by taking a look at Group A, which, of course, has in France, who are the hosts, and also the favourites, would you say, Alan?
For the group, yes. I mean, one of the favourites for the tournament, I think, with obviously being the host nation and having some good players. Paul Pogba looks in fantastic form. I saw him cross one for Olivier Giroud the other night for a goal in a friendly. He's a proper talent. Dimitri Payet, of course, what a season he's had at West Ham. Antoine Griezmann. They've got some really good players, and if they can start well, you know, get the home crowd behind them, they might be there.
They have flattered for a few years now. They've had a lot of individual talent, but they've not really achieved what you'd expect that quality to achieve. So I'm expecting France to start to turn things around as a nation.
It could struggle at the back, though. They've lost a few key players. Rafa Varane is out, Matty is out, but then they've had good news because Sakho's ban's been lifted, so maybe he can get called into the squad.
Yeah, that could definitely happen for them. But who do you think is going to come second behind France then? You've got Albania, maybe, Switzerland or Romania?
I would expect Romania to. I would expect them to come second. You know, they've got the better history. In regards Switzerland, I can't see them doing a lot. We've just seen that Albania, we've got 20-1 odds. So. And Alan just said that's generous, and I think he's right. You know, I really can't see them doing much. But in regards to the question, I think Romania will come second in the group.
I think it'd be a tight one with Switzerland.
Yeah.
I don't see too much to split between the two. I mean, Switzerland were in England's qualifying group, weren't they? You know, they weren't a brilliant team, but they've got some good players. Yeah. One of them just joined Arsenal, of course. Xhaka.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that would be fairly tight, but France definitely.
France will be tight. Yeah.
Now, Group B, of course, is the one which has all the British, or the most of the British interest. It features England and Wales. How are England set up going into this tournament, Alan? We know the squad now, of course.
They're set up well, Kelly. I mean, I think they're top heavy in terms of where do our strengths lie. It's up front, I think, and Roy Hodgson's picked a squad to reflect that. 5 strikers. When last did we take 5 strikers? And young Marcus Rashford, what a story. And I think he's done enough in training and in that friendly against Australia the other day, scored on his debut, to more than convince the England coaching staff. So I think we can scare most opposition with the boys we've got going forward. You know, Kane, Vardy, Rooney, Dele Alli. We should be able to score goals. It's whether we can keep them out the other end. But
well, I think, Kelly, Wales are the favourites to qualify, and I think England will win it. With the quality they got, as Alan said, going forward, it's amazing. You got the young boy Rashford who's coming through. Hopefully, Sturridge gets fit and can cause problems. But England are the favourites. But you have to watch out for Wales. Obviously, Gareth Bale, he does carry that team, and they've had a great qualifying campaign. So it'll be a difficult group.
I think for me the beauty of the English squad is we don't even know what it's capable of at the moment. So I think the other nations have got to sit back and think, hold it a minute. They've done really well as a nation to have as much quality to choose from, and we've had to leave so many players out. You know, Mark Noble hasn't made it. He's been outstanding this season. We've got a lot of quality, and I expect England to do well.
We will talk a little bit more about England in more detail, as you would expect. We'll talk about the exclusion of Danny Drinkwater in particular a bit later on. But in terms of the balance of the squad that Roy Hodgson has picked, it's so rare that he's been criticised for being too attacking.
Yeah, well, there's
never been accused of
But it looks that way. You know, this squad is an
He'll
attacking
only get
squad,
criticised if we get a couple of injuries at the centre-half positions, I suppose, because we've only taken 3, and people say, well, Eric Dyer can fill in there. But he's played all season for Tottenham in midfield, so it's not going to be an easy thing for him. It's going to be interesting who he does pick. Chris Smalling's going to play. Then it's Cahill or John Stones. Talk that perhaps John Stones might be the one. He's done well in a couple of friendly appearances, and he's not made those mistakes that he did for Everton in the last 6 months. So I think his confidence will be building, and he's obviously a ball-playing centre-half that should be with England for many years to come. But
they'll score goals, England, for sure.
they should, shouldn't they?
They'll outscore most teams. The ability they've got in that team is frightening. They will score goals for sure.
What would you all do in terms of that constant dilemma, which is you pick the form player or you pick them on what they can potentially do? What would you go for?
Well, I think Roy Hodgson has stayed with some players that he knows have performed for him in the past and he knows they will in the future. You mentioned Danny Drinkwater, but Jordan Henderson hasn't played much football, but he's Jack Wilshere. They know what they can do on the international stage, and that counts for a lot. You know, it's that loyalty factor, but you don't want to be overly loyal. Yeah. You've got to pick on quality.
Definitely.
But those two boys, you don't want too many rookies in your squad, do you? So I think it has to be balanced up.
I believe that the defenders we have in the squad have to think about defending first, in my opinion. Defend first. You know, you've got Walker bombing on, Rose bombing on every opportunity. This is European football. This is a different kettle of fish. You might not get away with that. So I think you need two strong centre halves that are willing to say, right, you stay here, you go when I tell you to go. That's what I think we've got to do. Defend first, stop crosses coming in, do your job, and then I think going forward we've got no problem at all. That's
a good point. But the centre halves, there's not really much leaders there. They're not talkers, are they? Smalley's not a talker.
They've got
Cahill,
better, maybe.
They've got better. They definitely got Cahill probably because he has had the captain's armband. But you need leaders. That's where I think going back to it, England missed someone like a John Terry who can organise people and pull players together.
Is that what Wayne Rooney brings, as well as what he can do on the pitch? Because he's another player. There's been a lot of controversy around whether or not, a lot of debate about whether or not really whether he should be in the squad, but whether he should start for England. We saw particularly in the performance against Turkey that he
got to start.
In. Yeah,
got to start for me. Got to start. Not as centre forward, and I'm talking for myself here, but I'm pretty sure the majority of the nation are going to say, put him in the number 10 role, let him do what he wants to do. Give him the freedom to do what he wants to do all over the pitch, because I think that's when you see the best of Wayne Rooney.
Can he do what he wants to do?
I feel he can. Given that role, if you just work around Wayne's qualities, I think he'll come to the fore for this tournament. I think he knows this is it now for him, and I think give him not a free role, but give him a 10 role to do what he wants to do. He's passing, he can strike. When's the last time we've seen Wayne Rooney take a shot from 25 yards, 22 yards? He doesn't do it anymore.
But the team has got to be set up for him in mind, hasn't it? And I think that's Roy Hodgson's problem.
Yeah.
How do I get my captain into this team and have a proper, good, effective formation? The talk of him being on the left of a 3, which, you know, it's not his best position. If he plays a diamond in midfield and Vardy and Kane up front and him at the point of the diamond, whether that's going to be a bit too attacking for Roy. We'll wait. I do think Rooney should start though. He's looking fresh and hungry. He got a really good strike against Australia, and I think, as you say, he's ready for this tournament.
Wales, Russia and Slovakia make up the rest of the group for England. How tough is it going to be for Wales to progress, or are we underestimating them?
Well, I was just listening to a few of the lads talking yesterday, Aaron Ramsey and the like, saying we want to go into this tournament and just embrace it, enjoy it. It has been an achievement after, 58 years, major tournament qualification. So the pressure's not on them, really. And if they can keep clean sheets the way they could in qualifying, I mean, they were spectacular. From a defensive point of view, Chris Coleman changed his formation once or twice, played 3 at the back, 4. Obviously, they're not a one-man team, but Gareth Bale, he's their talisman. They are a one-man team.
They've got a few good ones, but yeah, he won a lot for them in the qualifiers. Bale, he's massive. But they have got a great chance, and all the players that are going there, as Alan said, they've been speaking well, and Chris Coleman, he's a good manager and done a terrific job, so I think Wales will be there or thereabouts for that second spot. It will be tough, but keep Bale fit and give him the ball, he can cause anyone problems.
Yeah, there were a few nervous moments for Wales fans when he went down with cramp in the Champions League finals. It's just cramp. It's just cramp. It's all right. Right, let's move on to Group C now and take a look at that. We will come back, of course, to the home nations a little bit later on and go into them in even more detail. But Germany, the big pick in Group C, would you say?
I find it hard in this competition to look beyond them. I'm just looking at the group. Down there, Poland, Ukraine and Northern Ireland. Germany will win the group, you know, I'm pretty sure we all agree. And with the way that they play the game and with the way that they set up, what I've said about England's defence, that's what they do. They just allow their individual departments to work so well. Midfield players just do what they do. They go up and down. They don't really have 2 that sit and defend the defenders. That's not what it works. me and Smudge are old enough now to have defenders do that and midfield players do that, and the strikers score the goals. Northern Ireland, for me, have got some decent footballers. They really have. And I do like the manager, I forget his name, Michael O'Neill, who I played with at Coventry. You know,
What, and you can't remember his name?
No, I can't.
He's not forgotten you, dear.
He watches you every week on Home Under the Hammer.
10 o'clock every morning, Michael, you can see me. But no, it's great that he's had the chance to take on his country forward into a big competition. I'm really glad they're there, and I really hope they do well.
I think going back to Germany, though, they are the favourites. And the one or two people retired, Philipp Lahm and Mertesacker and the like. I heard today Marco Reus has been left out, which shows you how strong their team must be. Schweinsteiger made it, which people might think a bit of a surprise with his injury problems. Yeah. But, you know, they've still got Muller, Toni Kroos, Manuel Neuer, probably the best keeper in the world, Boateng. Oh, they've got some... And, of course, they just know how to get through tournaments, don't they? It's hard to see beyond them.
Yeah, they know how to win tournaments. They'll be there or thereabouts. But for the second spot, I think Poland, they were in Republic of Ireland's group. They're a good team, very good team. So it will be difficult for Northern Ireland, but no one ain't really expecting a lot of Northern Ireland, apart from probably the players and their fans. It's a free hit. Go and enjoy yourself in the tournament, basically.
Yeah, and despite Dion's backing for his old teammate, is it going to be between Poland and Ukraine for second place?
Yeah, I think it will be. But I think Poland are very strong. Lewandowski, I think he's one of the best strikers in the world. He scores goals, so I think they'll be there or thereabouts. But it'll be difficult. You just never know, though, on any given day. Anything
Northern
can
Ireland
happen.
will be hoping people take them lightly, won't they?
Yeah.
It's only little Northern Ireland, 1.8 million population or something. Maybe Carl Lafferty can knock a few in like he did in qualifying, and who knows? Who knows?
You never know. You never know. That's all I'm saying.
Leicester City won the Premier League.
Exactly.
You know?
Who would have thought that?
Well, yeah, that's going to be it now for decades to come. Well, if Leicester City won the Premier League, anything can happen. Let's take a look then at Group D, and this is a really fun group. It's Croatia, it's Spain, it's Turkey. I mean, there's so much talent in their Czech Republic.
Again, Spain. You know, God, the success they've had over the years, people are wondering how much further they can go. But again, I'm talking about Germany's players. Spain still, Busquets and Iniesta.
Just non-stop, isn't it?
So they've got so many world-class players.
They've left good ones at home. Costa's not made it. I know Torres come back into form. He's not made it. So they have got very good players.
And yet, terrible World Cup last time out. Is that something that they need to be concerned about, their performance in the last major tournament?
I don't think that'll concern them at all. I think they've got big enough egos and enough talent to say, hold on a minute, that's last time, this is now this is us. And they do have so much quality, you know, going forward, creative players, strikers that can score goals. Croatia as well, you know. Croatia, for me, there's always a result that in a big competition, Croatia will give you a result. I didn't realise that. I didn't realise Croatia would beat them. And I think, for me, I think Croatia will get the second spot. I think
Turkey a bit of a wild card.
After seeing them again,
They're putting themselves about, weren't they, Turkey?
Yeah,
they looked a physical outfit that weren't going to back down.
It will be a wild
card. So they might be a bit of a wild card. Czech Republic, they topped the group, I think, but they let in a lot of goals in qualifying. I don't see them as being good enough, but...
I mean, is defence really going to be an issue across this tournament? Because it seems to be the weakness for pretty much all the contenders is defensively. You could pretty much say about all the contenders, do you know what? They're fantastic going forward, but a bit shaky at the back. I mean, is there anybody you think has got the defence that's going to take them through?
Italy?
Germany.
They like defending.
Yeah, they like defending and getting 1-0. So, yeah, maybe Italy. But they got a tough group because they're in Ireland's group, aren't they?
Let's take a look then at Group E, which, of course,
good link.
Features. It does feature Italy. And it is. I mean, is that going to be enough to take them to the top of their group against, you know, the Republic of Ireland and their Sweden and Belgium?
For me, if Belgium... If all the individual players of Belgium turn up and they fancy it, they'll win the whole thing. Yeah. Because they've got the best individual squad of players.
And they're not outsiders anymore.
And you know, they're not outsiders, and rightly so. But they haven't done it, so that's why they're slightly on the periphery. Italy, for me, will win the group. And then I think Belgium will come second. I think the Republic of Ireland...
See, I'm not having that.
wouldn't expect you to.
You've got your green hat on,
I've got my green hat and my Guinness in my hand. Now, I think we got a good chance. I've watched us. All right, we haven't got the flair players of England or some of Belgium, Italy, Sweden. Even they've got the outstanding players, Sweden and Ibrahimovic. But our first game is against Sweden, and I think if we take 3 points off them, we got a great chance. It will be difficult because we're a team now just based on basically trying to get 1-0s or trying to score from set pieces because we haven't got those Roy Keanes. We still got Robbie Keane, but he's getting older, but people like Damien Duff, we haven't got that. So the group has to collectively get together, work hard, and Roy Keane's there on the coaching staff, so he'll give his advice, but it will be difficult.
Make sure everything's right off the pitch if Roy Keane's there as well.
Nothing of the 2002. He will.
I think that's possibly the strongest group.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult
You know,
group.
it's possibly the strongest group to
Group of
actually
death,
call.
is that what we're calling
Yeah.
it? It's got to be a group of death.
Yeah, we'll give
There's got to be one.
Groupie.
Yeah.
Lovely.
But I don't know the Republic. I mean, they're going to do better than they did last time under Trapattoni when it was a bit
Can't
of a
get any worse,
disaster,
can
wasn't
it?
it? Yeah. And they've got what you'd call solid pros, haven't they? When you look at John O'Shea, Glenn Whelan, and Shane Long, you know,
he could.
They need him, don't they?
need him.
Because Robbie Keane hasn't got the legs anymore to lead the line up on his own. So Shane's done well for Southampton.
And he didn't even before he wasn't even picking him. So the people in Ireland were going mad. Martin O'Neill wasn't picking. He was picking a lad, Daryl Murphy. With no disrespect, he hasn't scored a goal in about 30 appearances. And Shane Long's got 16, so he's doing the business. But I think he's going to need a bit of help. But they've got people like John Waters who works
Given
hard.
chances, though, given chances, those two strikers you just mentioned, they'll score goals. If you give them half chances, they'll nick them, Robbie Keane and Shane.
Robbie Keane. But I think Robbie Keane's at this age where he come off the bench. He's got a bit of a calf injury, so he's a bit of a doubt. But he scores goals and his record says it for him. He reminds me a bit of Rooney, but Rooney's a bit younger and can get around the pitch a bit more.
All right, let's go on then to Group F, and it features Portugal. And there are question marks about Cristiano Ronaldo's fitness. Do you think he can get back into top form, or at least good enough form and good enough fitness to cause trouble in this tournament?
I think he's got to, hasn't he? Talk about Gareth Bale with Wales. It's a similar situation with Ronaldo. They need him to be playing well. They were a big disappointment in the World Cup in Brazil. I did their game against Germany. I think Pepe got sent off after about 10 minutes. Nothing changes there, you know. Pepe.
How was his face? Any injuries to his head? Or...
Yeah, he was claiming he'd been fouled himself. But I don't see it. I don't know that if they start well and they score some goals soon, they tend to disappoint Portugal. I think they might do again.
Really? And even
Will they top the group, Al?
Yeah.
Will they top that group?
I'm not sure. Iceland are not bad, you know. Iceland are not bad. They'll be there or thereabouts. I think Iceland are not bad.
Yeah, listen, they will qualify. I'm talking as tournament as a whole, but they've been fairly fortunate with that group, haven't they? I think Portugal.
Does that group allow someone like Ronaldo to be able to come in and sort of find his way to fitness? Is that going to help him a bit? Yeah. Possibly.
The Portugal of old, possibly when they were on form, would be that good. They'd allow him time to come back in, and you'd say, well, we've got 4 games in this competition because we're that good. You know, and they could have been in a worse group. You know,
but he's meant to be the best one of the best in the world. He believes he's the best in the world. He thinks he's better than Messi. So if he thinks that, he doesn't need time to adapt. He should be coming.
He needs to be fit. Though.
He does need to be fit, but he should be coming in there and bossing that. Portugal look for their big players the same way when Messi's playing. They look on Messi, and he thinks he's up there. So he should be.
It's whether he tries to do it all himself. Though.
That's what
he has in the past, you know. And I've got to carry the country on my shoulders here, and he doesn't look up and he doesn't pass and it all goes pear-shaped. He's got to, be a part of the team.
I think he'll be happy coming back, scoring the winner in the Champions League final. I think he'll be happy on the back of that.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, that'll definitely give him a boost.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk then a little bit more about England. We know the 23-man squad that Roy Hodgson is going to be taking for France. We've touched on it a little bit. Let's talk though in a bit more detail about one of the players who isn't going to France, and Danny Drinkwater. Should he be disappointed that he's not going, Clinton?
He should be disappointed because he's had an outstanding season for Leicester. He's been brilliant, and if England do get an injury at the back, Eric Dyer would have to drop into the back, and then obviously you haven't got another holding midfielder, and I think Drinkwater does deserve it. But if you look, I think Rashford's performance has actually got him in it, because I didn't think he would make it, but that performance has probably made way for Drinkwater to drop out, because Roy thinks he's got enough midfielders and he can easily throw Wayne Rooney into that mix as well. So he'll be disappointed, but he'll come again. Definitely.
Talking about all the attacking talent, as we were earlier, Dion, someone like Dele Alli, and we talk about, maybe relationships, having Drinkwater in the same team as as Vardy, but Kante sort of missing out of that equation if they were going to play for England. If you're going to talk about the relationship between the Spurs players this season, then Dele Alli and Kane could be a really nice one. Yeah.
And Dyer.
And Dyer,
Dyer as well. So yeah, it's and they're in on merit again. All three of them have been outstanding. Dele Alli will play for England, you know, many times, and he will affect football matches. Now he's got to affect football matches on the international stage. It's completely different. Alan will tell you, you might get a bit more time. You might get more time to think.
He looks fearless, though, when you see him playing in big occasion games for Spurs.
Well, that's the beauty of having the kind of squad we've got. I think a lot of the players we have in our squad do have that, you know, air about them where I can do this. I think Rashford's going to do the same if he gets his chance. I'll be fine on this stage. You've got to now put that into practice. I believe that we've got enough to go all the way when it comes about talent. But it's that first couple of games where people are going to be a little bit nervous and a little bit, you know, can we or can we not?
It's that different group format, though, isn't it, as well? And you hope that it doesn't, like, discourage attacking play, because you can be fairly cautious and still qualify, can't you? So you could finish third, as I say.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're set up to be cautious. I don't think that will suit us to be cautious. And as you say, those relationships, Dele Alli set up Harry Kane, didn't he, against Turkey, slipped the ball through. Those little partnerships might be really important, because the lads will feel at home. You know what it's like. You join up and you're with one of your club mates or two or three, and you know, you have dinner together, don't you? You feel a little bit more part of it and a bit more home. Yeah,
Roy Hodgson talks about players being good tourists, about the kind of players who you want to have as part of your squad, because they can go on, you know, a trip, and they can go off to these championships, and they can actually lift the rest of the players. When we've heard in the past about England players being bored, being fed up, running out of things to do, not, you know, just going back to their rooms and playing on their PSPs or whatever, that, you know, to have players who can lift.
That never happened when I went in 2002.
Were you social?
I was the one organising. They couldn't shut me up. They were telling me.
I knew there was a reason you went Clinton.
I started everything. I knew there was a reason I went. It wasn't for footballing reasons. It was to entertain the group. No, I do think you've got to have good characters in the group and people, because it does get boring. It was different in 2002. We were in Japan, Saipan, so there weren't a lot really things to do. You could just probably go out and do sightseeing. France is a bit different because you're not that far. So, but you do need good people in the squad and integrate and make people feel welcomed in that, because you've got a lot of young boys in there, as you said. Rashford will be in there, Dele Alli. I know they know the Tottenham link, but you do sometimes get on board, so it's good to have good characters in the group.
The lads that are not in the starting 11 as well, isn't it? One. You know, how they react, and I think, you know, Jordan Henderson and James Milner, these kind of people that the public, it doesn't fill them with enthusiasm, but within the squad, it is important, their influence in that dressing room just around about the hotel. And those that don't react so well, you know, Daniel Sturridge, if he's not playing, will be a happy bunny. I'm not so sure. That might be something Roy Hodgson thought about.
You won't be smiling if he's not playing.
But there might be enough to kind of counteract that and, you know, bring the England spirits up, as, you know, a series of wins would do for this England team. How far can they go? How far should they go in this competition?
I think, you know, if we got to the semi-finals, that would be good. But of course, if you get to the semis, you want to get to the final. You know, as I say, I would put us in the top four, maybe on a par with France and behind Spain and Germany. Italy, don't know.
Yeah, as well.
Yeah, I just think with our attacking talent, we've probably got more than most. So it's whether, go back to that fact of keeping clean sheets, can we defend properly? It's that momentum, isn't it, in a tournament. You get out of the group, you win that first knockout game, and all of a sudden the belief builds. You just don't know.
I think it's getting the basics right. Yeah. Just getting the basics right. Tournament football, getting the basics right. Win your games, whatever it takes. Win your games in the group stages, and then whatever happens after that, it's a bit of a lottery, because it's all the best teams that get to the final stages.
We've struggled with game management, haven't we?
Completely, absolutely.
Against Uruguay, we kind of lost our heads a little bit, didn't we? And we couldn't handle the situation. That's where we've got to learn, and we've got youth in the team. That's where people like Wayne Rooney come in handy.
Wales have included Joe Ledley in their 23-man squad, partly, I would imagine, because of all those leadership skills that we've been talking about.
Skills, yeah.
And dancing skills. You want to give us
I'd like to show you. I got a bit of a sore one. I would have shown people. No, but I think, speaking to people at Palace, he's worked hard to get fit, because he had a bad injury and he missed a lot, but he's been working hard. And yeah, you do need leaders like that and characters in your dressing room. He might not play as much as he wants to, but just being part of it, he helped them qualify. So I do think you need people like that in your squad.
What are their chances then of getting out the group? If they do get out the group, what can they do?
I think they've got a good chance, but I think getting out of the group, they'll be happy with getting out of the group. It is quite a tough group, and I think getting out, they'll be happy, and whatever happens after that, I think is an added bonus.
What's a good tournament for them, Dion?
Yeah, finishing second maybe. Finishing second, I think, and then finishing second, and then moving on.
No, in the competition.
Yes, no.
That's ambitious.
Delighted with that.
Finishing second in the group, you know, getting through to the next stage. I think that'd be a success. I think, without a doubt.
And the Republic of Ireland, Clinton, what can they do? What can we hope for them?
I'll be happy to just get out of the group, to be fair. It'll be difficult. Or actually win a game this time, because we didn't do nothing last time.
What do you think Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane will be telling their players that they're aiming for?
Well, I know what Roy's like, and Roy will be telling them you're going to win it. But that's just how Roy is. He's that sort of character, and I think having him around, someone like that, and he will have a go and have a word like him when it's time to do that. He'll be telling them, we're not here, because I remember going, I know I keep harping back, but in 2002, we had a talk, he said, we're not just here to make up the numbers, we really want to win it, and for whatever reason, he didn't end up being there. But obviously in the Euros, they'll be telling them we need to do well. Everyone's going to be looking at the last Euros we had, and we didn't turn up. But I think they've got, as Hal said, they're just a hard-working team. We're a hard-working team. We haven't got any superstars, maybe apart from Shane Long, who can get us the odd goal. But
it'd be a happy
camp. It'll be a
Trapattoni.
Yeah, it'll be a happy camp. Trapattoni was a bit too strict. He didn't let the lads in those sort of things. You have to let the lads do something, enjoy themselves. So it will be a happier camp for sure.
Will Michael O'Neill do that with Northern Ireland, do you think?
No,
Will he let them relax, let them off the leash a little bit?
He's that kind of person as well. You know, he's a very chilled out guy. He can throw a few teacups when he wants to, and I'm pretty sure there will be times when he'll need to. But he's quite a calm character. He speaks very well in his interviews. He's very dedicated to bringing on the nation as a whole. You know, not so much running before he can walk. You know, I think he's very, very good at that. And he's got a decent squad of players. He has got a decent squad of players.
And they've had fantastic results throughout qualification.
And I think it's down to the manager giving them that belief. You know, putting round pegs in round holes. You know, and allowing them to play in their positions, what they play with their clubs as well. So, I wish him all the best. I think he's a good manager.
He's going to go a long way in the management game, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's going to go a long way. And
definitely.
They haven't got many players to choose from, have they? So, you know, if you are a round peg, you've got to go in that round hole. Really.
Exactly.
Yeah, Stephen Davies, he's got a bit of quality in the middle of the park, but you know, most of the lads are playing outside the top flight, outside the Premier League, aren't they?
Yes, that's a good achievement.
To top that group, wow. I mean, anything after that is a bonus.
There's no pressure. There's no pressure.
Exactly.
They can just go and play. And that's what the manager will say. Go and play. What have you got? You know.
Is it enjoyable to play in a tournament like that? When you say go and enjoy it.
I got left out, Kelly, in 98. Thanks for that. Cheers.
Is it enjoyable?
If you're England, there's more pressure. Without question, you feel it, and you know everyone at home.
Even when you're away from home.
Yeah, because you're getting phone calls, and some managers allow the English papers into the hotel. I remember Graham Taylor did in Sweden, and he'd be thumbing through the papers, going, "Oh, look what they've said about us here." And, you know, the lads
was that motivational or just
he shouldn't have allowed it really, but no. But if you are Northern Ireland or Wales, I think you can go out there and just try and express yourself. Nobody's expecting much, and it is an achievement in itself to be there. So they've got an advantage over England from that point of view, I think, because you know we always talk about 40 years of hurt and all that, and how long is it going to last? And, you know, going into this tournament now, the St George's flags are going to be all around the country and everyone is going to be expecting big things.
50 years of hurt.
50, yeah. It's been a long time.
Let's take a look at the contenders then for the Golden Boot. We've talked about the wealth of attacking talent in this competition. It's the usual suspects right at the top. Thomas Muller, Ronaldo, maybe with injury worries hanging over his head. Griezmann's up there as well, Lewandowski. I mean, look at them. I mean, Harry Kane, the first Englishman in the running for that. Who do you think we should be looking out for?
Thomas Muller. I think he's Germany's highest goal scorer now, isn't he? And you need to be playing in a good team. And he's got that ability, Thomas Muller. Sometimes he doesn't look a player, but he can just pop up in the right place at the right time and shin it in or whatever. Yeah. He's a natural goal scorer. So
yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. In regards goals, in regards scoring as many goals as possible, that's all he looks to do. Don't see him tracking back and heading balls away in his own box. He just, like Alan says, anything will do. A knee, off his shoulder. He's just there. Keeper drops it, he's there. Muller, all the time. So yeah, I think he's going to be there. It wouldn't surprise me if Zlatan gets his fair amount of goals as well. Only because he's the man.
For a move to Man United?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that's sorted, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's fantastic.
He's that strong a character that he'll shoot from silly angles, he'll try silly things, and they might come off. Not many players will do or try what he tries to do. So yeah, he'll be in
Griezmann's
there.
had a good season.
I think Griezmann will be there or there, and I even think Harry Kane probably, because Harry will probably start most of the games, and England, as we said, going forward, attacking, and he's been on fire. Give him one chance, he'll pull it away. But I think Griezmann will be there or there. But
And the guy you mentioned, Lewandowski,
scores goals. Yeah, so it's a hard one. There's a lot of good top quality strikers there to call.
I mean, the thing with Kane is it depends on how Roy Hodgson decides to play him, or how he uses him and Vardy or throughout the course of the competition. It might not be that he does the same thing in every game.
But whatever shape he plays, Harry Kane's going to play. Yeah. He's got to play. He's the fulcrum of the attack. So, and as Clinton said, he got that goal after how many seconds on his debut, and he's not looked back. I mean, he looks at home in an England shirt. Sometimes if you pull on that white shirt and you don't score for a few games, it weighs you down. But he got off to a flyer, and I mean, he's going to get a bag of goals for England. And if the team play well and create chances, he could get a few in the tournament.
What do you do with Vardy then? Because Roy Hodgson's tried to play him out wide alongside Harry Kane, but we saw when he came central, he created chances, as he does at Leicester. So if you're not going to play him through the middle, do you play him at all?
Me personally, I don't play him out wide. I think you could have a wing. If you're playing a 4-3-3, a wider person, you can be more of effective beat players. But then, when he did go up through the middle with Kane, his pace is unbelievable, and he knows how to buy penalties very well. He's clever at that, and his pace will cause. He'll be well known now. People didn't really know about him, but he's got 3 in his last 3. He's a goal scorer. He scored that much goals at Leicester this season. So, I think I'm not telling Roy Hodgson what to do, but if I was Roy Hodgson, I'd probably play the diamond shape with them two up front, because I think they'd combine really well.
Yeah, you don't want Vardy on the left. You saw against Turkey, tracking up and down. It's not his game, is it?
It's a waste.
You're talking about round pegs in round holes.
Yes, exactly.
He's just won the title for Leicester.
Do you think that was just Roy Hodgson trying something out rather than us seeing a sort of foretaste of what's to come?
Well, yeah, because I think he'll want to play 4-3-3 at some stage. Maybe Marcus Rashford now can do that, and in the way that Danny Welbeck did it so well. So he might find a place on certain occasions, but I wouldn't want Vardy there, no, because I think he'll get the hump, won't he? You think, I've just won the league with Leicester, scored all these goals, and now I'm playing out here.
All these two were good strikers, very good strikers, and scored goals. Do you really think if the manager said to them, you're going to play on the right, you have to track the fullback, they'll be happy with that? No, I don't think so.
I didn't know there wasn't a right and left on the pitch.
Exactly.
Straight down the middle all the time. I'd play them both, Kelly. Play them both up top, me. I think you've got to give the defenders something to think about. What do we do? Do we drop off? If you drop off, Kane will get it. If you play high line, Vardy's in behind. So
they played together at under 21 level as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. So they probably don't know each other's game or each other as well as they did, but the quality that they have, for me, they're complete opposites when it comes to players. So what do you do? As a defender, do you go short? Do you go long? Do you play a high line? You can't do either, because they're both, very different from each other.
If you do that, can you then play Rose and Walker at fullbacks and have them bombing on with those two up front? I mean, it'll certainly be entertaining.
You've got to pick your moments, haven't you? But I mean, Tottenham did it really well, and Eric Dyer sat there and made a 3 at the back with the 2 centre halves. So, it's possible. And Walker and Rose, they are very strong going forward, and we need that width, don't we? We need to get some service in from the flanks. So it's picking your moments.
That's discipline. It's all about discipline now. Discipline.
Of the players who aren't on the Golden Boot list, what about Gareth Bale? Is he a player who could get goals in that Wales? I mean, he will get goals for Wales, we would imagine, but enough to kind of push him into the edges of a Golden Boot reckoning?
I would, if he had, he's got a chance, but I just think it's about the possession. How much possession are they going to have in order to give him as many chances that he needs to score goals? And I just think that will be the biggest problem for Wales, having the ball in their possession, holding on to it for long enough to create chances.
I think he'll score a lot, probably maybe from dead ball situations, maybe free kicks. That's his probably more likely.
Penalties,
everything.
Free kicks, throw-ins,
corners.
That's all
they all count. They all count towards it. Let's take a look then at the overall winners of Euro 2016. Pick your winner of the tournament, Dion.
I'm going to be incredibly boring. I can't see beyond Germany, I'm afraid. I think they'll be too regimented, too structured, a lot of quality. And I'll repeat what I've said all along. They have round pegs in round holes, and they do it the best. For me, they do it the best, and I think Germany will win the competition.
Who do you think they'll be in the final against, or who do you think will run them close? If it's not Germany,
I think England will run them close. I really genuinely do. I think if he gets his formation right and he puts the right players in the right places, I do believe we have enough quality to go as far as Alan said, the semis. And if you get to the semis, that's what it's all about, getting to the final. It's all about getting to the final. And I think England have got enough. I really believe that.
Nice to see that you're sticking with the English tradition of talking it down early on, then the closer it gets to the tournament, they can win this, you know.
Exactly, right, done right. Yeah, it has.
Clinton, who would you go for?
Oh, it's difficult. I do think England will be there or thereabouts. I can't say England because the Irish people will go mad for me. So I can't really say
Your people, your Irish people.
My Irish people will go. So it'll be difficult. I do think England will have a good tournament, but I can't see past Spain. I think Spain always turn up usually at major tournaments and do really well. I know, and even France, but you're putting me on the spot. It's too hard to pick, but if I'm going to have to pick one, I'd go for Spain.
Okay.
Without a shadow of a doubt, yeah.
Well, I mean, nobody's really going for France as their outright contender.
Shall I go for France?
You don't have to. You don't have to, but you could explain why you don't if you haven't gone for them.
I'd probably go with Dion and say Germany, but, you know, as the host nation, rolling back the years to the years of Henry and Petit and the like, we mentioned Griezmann and Pogba and Payet. They've got some match winners in that. Yeah. As Clinton says, can they get it right at the back? Get on a roll in front of, how many does it hold, the Stade de France, 70-odd thousand behind them? They might be the team.
I'm going to ask you all for an outsider as well. Someone that might just be off the radar. Who could come in and have a storming tournament? Who could be another Greece, another Leicester?
Belgium for me.
Again?
Belgium. Yeah, Belgium.
Because traditionally Belgium are
one of the favourites.
They're not a Leicester.
You mean somebody not on the list, you mean?
As an outsider anymore.
You mean somebody not on the list?
Albania.
All right, then, they're not on the list. OK, they're not on the list.
OK,
I'll
go. If they're not on that list, I'll go...
How long do you have to be an outsider for before you're not an outsider anymore?
Croatia.
That's a good shout.
Okay.
I'd go Croatia.
All right.
There you go.
I wasn't questioning the choice of Belgium. I was just
I'll go Poland.
opening up the conversation.
I'll go Poland.
You're going to go Poland?
Yeah, I'll go Poland.
Because?
They got that striker Lewandowski that scored goals, and you said an outsider, so he's a big outsider. I'll go Poland.
Good shout.
England.
Yeah.
It's only 50 years ago. They would be the Leicester, the Euros.
I don't know if they're more like a Belgium with all that young attacking talent than a Leicester. Maybe.
Possibly.
This year's Belgium. I don't know. We can ask our audience what they think. Does anybody have any questions for the guys? If you put your hand up, we've got a microphone coming around. It will come over to you. Don't be shy. It's always that once somebody's asked the first question,
that's it.
It's fine. Does anybody have a question?
Oh dear.
Yes,
we do,
thank you.
Started it off.
So in 2008, we saw Andre Arshavin kind of break through and earn himself a move to Arsenal. Are there any players you can see that happening to, maybe putting themselves in the shop window at this tournament and doing the same thing?
Question.
God,
That's a tough one. I think Al has to answer now.
Yeah, I mean, he's not an unknown, but I suppose of all the younger players, Pogba's the one that's going to be the next big buy, isn't he? He's going to go for about 80 million when he goes, I think, if he goes, because he's young and he's hugely talented. Obviously, he's not an unknown, but there will be players emerge that we probably don't know too much about.
I saw the other night out. Carrasco, the Atletico Madrid, is he Belgium? He came on.
Yeah.
He looked like
I thought he was French.
He did do well, actually.
Yeah, Belgium. Yeah, he came on. He looked like he got a bit of an injury, but he looked like someone I ain't really heard of. But he came on and changed the game. He looked a good player.
He did create, didn't he? A lot. Got on the ball a lot.
People on was positive, so that could be one.
No. But you picked an older one earlier on with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, saying that he's looking for a next big money. I know you're talking about young players, but if you're talking about players who are looking for a big move, he's one of them.
He's had a few. He's had a few. Well, he's not skint, I can tell you that. He'll get his move. He'll get his move. We all think. Well, I think he'll get his move to United, but I just think he's got the character just to go and try things that nobody else would even think about doing. So it wouldn't surprise me if he gets 4, 5 goals in this competition whatsoever. I think Alan's right with Pogba in regards to the younger players. Yes, he's been in the public eye for a long time, but now I think it's time for him to become a man and start, running games on his own. His bits and bobs. He affects football matches. For me, good players affect football matches. Great players can win them on their own, i.e. Thierry Henry.
So as the answer is that we don't know who's going to be the surprise because they're a surprise.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I'll tell you afterwards. I'll tell you afterwards.
Are there any more questions?
If you all agree that Rooney should be starting at the Euros, where would you play him?
The point of a diamond. I think that's because you've really got to change your team around. I wouldn't want him on the left in a 4-3-3, so I think you play two strikers, Vardy and Kane, and then play him just behind, and that way you can save his legs and get him forward, and he can have a bit of a free role there. And that's probably where we'll see him, unless Roy decides to put him on the left, but I don't think that's using his qualities to the best.
Yeah.
Do you think that Rooney's played in that role well enough for Manchester United, Dion? You know, to translate that form onto the international stage?
He's been indifferent for a while, but I do believe he's the best person we have, best English number 10 we have, without a doubt. I think he can create things. I think you've got to give Wayne Rooney the freedom to try things, and he's brave enough to try them as well. You know, there's a lot of players that probably get the number 10 role. They think, oh, I can't do that because it might get nicked. He won't care. He'll try it.
Is there anyone who can do play the number 10 role better than Wayne Rooney?
I don't
Get
think
the
so.
nod over
I
here.
don't think
No,
so.
Dele Alli's
Dele
the other
Alli's
one.
the one,
I
but
don't
not
think
at
so.
this precise moment, I don't think,
And to go into a tournament like this, I think Wayne's perfect to do that. There's a lot of weight on your shoulders at that number 10, that number 10. You've got to do a lot of the creating. You've got to even get yourself the odd few chances or the odd few
He'll
goals.
funnel back and
Of course he will,
act
yeah.
as a defender
That's just
as
natural,
well.
isn't it? That's natural for him. You know?
We've got another question, I think, towards the back.
Are you confident that Roy Hodgson is a guy that could take England all the way in the tournament? Because me personally, I think he's very lucky still to even be in the job after the past couple of tournaments. Are you confident that he can take us all the way?
I don't see why not. I think if England fail, it won't be because of Roy Hodgson. He's highly experienced. You know, he went to Poland and Ukraine. He'd only been in the job a few months, hadn't he? So he was kind of taking that over from Capello. But yes, we were disappointing in Brazil, more than disappointing. But he's picked the squad I think everybody would pick now, and I would have faith in him to pick the right 11 on the right occasion. I hope he does.
Do you think he knows what his favourite, his preferred starting 11 is?
I think he's probably got two favourites, the 4-3-3 and the diamond. So I don't think it's going to be his fault if we don't pull up any trees.
But, Al, do you think that if we don't, let's say we don't get out of the group stage,
Oh, it's disaster, isn't it?
that's, you know,
I
that's,
mean, that is disaster.
is that will that be the gaffer's fault?
Yeah, well,
Will that be the gaffer's
I
fault?
don't know. We'd have to see how
Yeah.
things and what
It
he
always
did.
starts with the manager, don't it, though? It always
Has
does.
to, it has
Everyone
to.
always looks at the manager.
He would
but
have to
stops
go
him.
if we didn't get out of the
Yeah,
group.
for sure.
But his contract's up anyway, isn't it? So
Yes.
he's up for renegotiation.
So you don't care, he's up
No,
for-
no, well, that was.
There's no-
But do you think? Well, you know, it depends. Do you think he'll carry on if England have a successful, by however you define a successful Euro 2016 for England? Do you think he'll stay anyway?
I think he'll want to.
Yeah.
I think he'll want to.
Well, what will help him is the lack of candidates, because I think they want to stop with English now, don't they?
Yeah.
The FA, and you know, Sam Allardyce, Alan Pardew, Eddie Howe, Sean Dyche. They're the four now in the Premier League, I think. Gareth Southgate is the under-21 manager, but he doesn't appear to be the next incumbent, does he?
Or
Normally,
wanting to
a
have
lot
it,
of
yeah.
other countries, they're grooming
Yeah,
the
it just
under-21
comes through, doesn't
manager.
it?
You just don't get that feeling
No.
with Gareth. I don't know. So there's not many candidates that might help. But
So even if you're not convinced, there might not be anyone there to take Roy Hodgson's place. So not sure it's the answer that you wanted. Are there any more questions? Yes.
This year is going to be the first time there's 24 teams. You're going to have teams like Iceland, Hungary, Albania, and it's going to be a lot easier to qualify through the group. Do you think that's going to take away from the tournament as a spectacle?
I wouldn't say that.
there might be some.
It's good that other teams, them smaller teams, have qualify. I don't think it will, because if you still look at some of the groups are like super tough, especially like Republic of Ireland.
I don't think they should have done it,
No.
I have to say, because it was really competitive competition before, wasn't it? You know, there was no room for manoeuvre at all. Now, lose your first game, still qualified, probably comfortably. So, you know, it's been done for money reasons, really, to get all these teams in and TV money around Europe and all the rest
I mean,
of it.
is there also an argument for saying that the way to get these teams up to the standard of the rest of them is to have them playing in international tournaments in the same way that, you know, teams who've had World Cup experience tend to progress?
I don't think it's a bad thing. because you might get a chance to see a little talent somewhere that might get a chance to do something on the big stage, might just stand out. Maybe that's what these smaller nations need as a bit of a lift, especially as an individual. Go and play in a big tournament, Albania, and it's like, wow.
You don't want to dilute the quality, though, do you?
No, not at all, not at all.
Because in a way, the Euros were more competitive than the World Cup when, you know, you'd had Trinidad and Tobago or whatever in it. And we've gone away from that now. But, you know, I'll take your point.
Yeah.
Take your point.
A couple more questions. Do you want to get at the back? Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, do you think that we're at risk of doing what we seem to always do, try and build the team around an individual, as opposed to actually playing the best team? I mean, if we're talking about playing a diamond, isn't there a real risk that we lose width as an England team? And then if we're looking, then I guess the next one would be, oh, well, the width will come from the left and right back, but we haven't got the defensive structure and stability to allow that. So, yeah, I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
You said that earlier, didn't you, though? But you won't lose your width because of Walker and Rose. If they both are going to start, it could be Klein and Rose, but Rose will. They love to get forward, and as Al said earlier, Eric Dyer, I think he does a great job. He'll just go and fill in the position. So, what the problem is with international football, which will be different from the Premier League, both fullbacks can't go at the same time. If you both go at the same time, you will get punished, because international football, they'll just punish you and put the ball straight in the net. So I think you have to pick and choose when you go. But I think that diamond, I think for England, the diamond shape is good, because that's how you can get the best out of your better players in Wayne Rooney. So you have to sometimes build a team around a player, and you have to build it around
Not
him.
many teams play wingers these days, do they? You know, and it is the fullbacks that give you width.
Yeah.
I think in answer to your question, I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean. It's going to come from the fullbacks. But that comes down to the discipline again, and the players we have in the side, 2 centre-halves, Dyer, as Al said as well, to make sure they're strong enough to say, don't go, you stay. In order for England to do anything, they have to do that. Because if you're going to play against, let's say, a Ronaldo, for instance, you know, yes, he's the best in the world, along with Messi, he won't bother going back. The right fullback goes, he'll stay left wing. And that's how clever players can be in tournaments like this. So I think you've got to have your head screwed on, you've got to know where players are, because there will be what we call in the game, people will cheat, and they won't do the hard work back. They'll sit in that little void, get it to me, and I'll attack. But if we're set up fine, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
You wanted a question at the front here? You've been waiting for ages.
With strikers traditionally taking much of the credit, how...
Damn right as well. Come on, strikers.
It's hard to put the ball in the back of the net, you know. It's an art.
I agree. Just how crucial will Joe Hart be to England's chances?
He's one of the best keepers in the world, I think. He's had a fantastic season again for Manchester City. He's getting better as a keeper, I think, maturing. Not too far behind Neuer. I mean, Neuer's got a mistake in him, hasn't he? You know, he's charged out a few times this season. Joe, very, very steady. But you need the help of your defenders, you know. No keeper's going to be good enough to stop, you know, unlimited shots. So he needs his centre-halves in front, nice and compact, and helping him out.
I think that all comes down to, for me, for a keeper to do well, it's all about communication with your teammates around you. I think Joe Hart's got better. He's actually come out and taken a lot more crosses and connected with them when it comes to punching them, taking crosses in his 2 hands, coming down from mid-air, holding onto the ball, because he's had protection from his teammates. I think we've got to communicate as a back five, and I think we're fine. And I agree with Clinton and Alan. I think Joe Hart can be the best.
He's a good talker.
He can be the best. That's a big thing, you know, communication.
Yeah, goalkeepers a talker is the best. It gives the other defenders.
He's a leader as well. You hear him in the tunnel and that. He's a
and they're all crazy goalkeepers. All goalkeepers are crazy. All of them.
I thought that was just a myth, but it's true. It's
Absolutely.
Officially.
It is now. It's officially right, isn't it?
Officially
there
right,
you go. Yeah. Alan Smith said it as well.
Which 2 centre-backs then would you start in front of Joe Hart if that's what's going to be important?
Yeah, I'd be small in starts. I don't know, if John Stones is in a good frame of mind and he's built his confidence a little bit from the end of the season at Everton, I'd maybe go with him. He's played on the left as well and he looked comfortable there, because that's what they've been looking for, a left-sided centre-half.
They're going to play out from the back.
He's somebody that can bring it into midfield, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just give you an extra man there, so maybe he could be one of the lads that explode on the international scene.
I think he's the best footballer at centre-half that we have by a long way. You know, he's got so much talent.
But why is this something that footballers say and that plenty of Everton fans who've watched him this season don't see?
I'll tell you what they don't see. He's a very good footballer, and he can play midfield for me. He can play anywhere on the pitch. He's got that much quality. But his decision-making sometimes has let him down. Taking too many touches, taking chances. There's time and a place to do that, and it's not in your own half.
But you can see that Roy Hodgson or maybe Gary Neville, Ray Lewington have already been getting into it over the last few friendlies because he's not been taking chances.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't.
He's been keeping his game more simple. And he's been hitting some long balls and that, but he looks a different player to what he did in the Everton Blues.
So decision-making isn't just down to the individual player then? It's about what he's told to do as well?
Well, you have to take on board your information from the coaches because they can see what you can't when you're on the pitch. And you just can't do it. You know, and it all comes down to when he took too many times, done about 3 Johan Cruyffs in his own box, and he went like that to the fans. And they're thinking, hold on a minute, we're supporting you here and you're telling me to calm down. He got away with that. He got away with it. Can't do it on the international stage, you won't get away with it.
Sometimes you just got to clear your lines, and if it's on, just play the longer ball. You can't be looking to dribble the ball out, you will get punished. Yeah. But I think he's learning, as Al said, in the last internationals. He's growing up, and he's still a young boy, so he's going to make mistakes.
How old is he, Clinton? How old is he?
I think he's, what, 21?
21.
Yeah, he's still a young boy. A lot of people get onto him, and he's still young. For me, he'll be the future. He'd be a top centre-half, one of the best. And that's why all big clubs want him. He can go and play at a team like Barcelona, brings the ball out, he's smooth on the ball, so...
All right. Time for one last question. Is there anybody who wants to ask the very last question? So it's going to have to be a good one, no pressure.
Now we are taking 5 strikers. If things aren't quite working with Kane and Vardy up front, who you assume would be the first choice too, Rooney's in midfield, who do you think, presuming Sturridge is fit, who do you think is the next cab off the rank in terms of offering something off the bench? Do you think Sturridge is still just ahead with the extra experience from the World Cup, or do you think the fact that he's taken Rashford would suggest that he's keen to use him?
Personally, in the pecking order, I think Sturridge would be next in line, just in regards to the pecking order on England duty. And I do feel that he's possibly got that out-the-blue moment more so than any of the other 4. You know, I go back to his outside of the left boot goal in the Europa League. You know, something like that. You know, something outrageous. I think he's the one that could surprise a few people with a goal that you wouldn't expect someone to score. So yeah, I think Sturridge just in the pecking order, I think.
No, I'd agree with that. I think it's a danger that you ask too much of Marcus Rashford. You know, he is a young kid, and it's an experience enough for him to be out there. Sturridge is way ahead in terms of experience. He's played in a World Cup, scored in a World Cup.
Yeah, it's whether or not he's going to be Michael Owen or Theo Walcott, isn't he? Whether it's going to be that kind of tournament for him.
Yeah, I know, but if Sturridge is fit, I think he's one of the best. He's got all the natural ability, but sometimes people think it's a mental thing with him, like with his injuries. But when he's fit and on his game, he's one of the best there is.
If you put your arm around him,
I think he needs to be loved.
Put your arm around him, as Clint was just about to say, wrap him in cotton wool, look after him, and say you're brilliant, you're brilliant, you're the best, you're the best. Give him game time. He is one of the best.
Right, very open question now. I want to know your bet of the tournament. Best bet of the tournament on anything you like. It can be who's to win it, it can be top goal scorer, it can be anything. First one to go out, biggest shock, something like that. What do you think?
Okay, I think Croatia will make quarters.
Really?
Yes, there you go. Croatia to make the quarterfinals. There you go. That's my outside bet.
All right. It doesn't have to be an outside bet.
If it's decent.
You know what my outside bet is, and this will be a good outside bet. Ireland to get out, Republic of Ireland to get out of the group. Because if they get out of the group, it's a massive achievement. So I'm going to go for that.
And you think they can do it?
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say it.
You just want to be able to walk the streets of Dublin,
exactly,
isn't it?
Without getting harassed.
Where were you born again? Where were you born?
In Dublin. Just in Dublin. And then, with a Guinness in my hand.
The biggest shock. England to win, that's going to be the biggest shock.
Really? But do you think it can happen, though?
Of course it can, yeah.
If you're going to bet on it, you've got to believe it can happen.
Yeah, I don't know, what are the odds for England? They've got to be decent, haven't they? But I don't know, who would be the biggest disaster? I don't know, one of the big teams maybe, because you do get it, don't you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Italy or Spain.
Italy, I was thinking of Italy maybe.
One
of the big clubs just don't do like Spain in the World Cup. Maybe you get that kind of situation. So.
Breaking news.
I think Italy will struggle to get out of that group. Belgium.
Oh, so another little bet. Italy not to qualify for the knockout stages.
Yeah, I do believe that.
There is lots still to talk about. Remember that you can follow the conversation with Betway on social media right throughout Euro 2016. But for now, though, thank you very much to our guests today, to Alan Smith, to Clinton Morrison and to Dion Dublin.
Thank you.
Not sure how much money you cost people there.